I started there in 1979 as a boilermaker's labourer. I worked in the centre plant, which was that end of the plant that was involved in feeding the iron ore and the coke into the blast furnaces. I was very active in what was called the Federated Ironworkers Association as a delegate and as the leader of the left-wing group in that union that was fighting for stronger membership control and democratic rights for the members. But when I started there in 1979, we had 11,300 workers and we were having massive production. There were 4 blast furnaces. What happened in 1982, all of a sudden, the bottom fell out of the market. They were making actually plans to build a new steelworks on Kooragang Island, and overnight, full production went down into the start of massive retrenchments and layoffs to start a process that culminated in 1999 with the closure of the steelworks. What happened was that it was a gradual process from about 1982, a 17-year process of gradual closure of the steelworks. And what happened is that the workforce were all the time expected to take more and more of the cost and more and more of the responsibility for increasing productivity, while the company was making massive profits and also getting substantial subsidies from the federal government. All the workers were promised upskilling, and they were even promised at one stage the possibility that a new player would come in and build a new steelworks in Newcastle. All sorts of chimeras, all sorts of fantasies about workers' jobs being secure. They will tell you anything while your industry is booming. But what they're actually doing is laying the basis for increased productivity, for massive retrenchments, and ultimately what they promise about workers' future will not be delivered, and we have the experience of the Newcastle Steelworks to attest to that. They will say anything, but they will not deliver.
What does the BHP Steelworks site look like now?
One big empty paddock where we should be producing renewables, where we should be producing rail infrastructure, where we should be producing solar components, renewable technologies by windmills, is one big empty paddock. And we had 17 years notice that this was ultimately going to be on the cards, that BHP would ultimately close down the steelworks. 17 years forewarning, and what have we got there? And one big empty paddock. I would like to see the rebirth of manufacturing in Newcastle based upon the creation of public transport infrastructure, rail freight, locomotive carriages, ferries. We have all that capacity. We still have those skills in Newcastle so that we can start to rebuild Australia on the basis of renewable technologies. And part of that as well would be wind turbines and solar components. We could be constructing all of those in Newcastle, not just the steelworks site, but there's a whole lot of here in Carrington where we are at the moment, a whole lot of underutilised manufacturing and productive capacity.
Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure. Dare to struggle, dare to win.